I'm John D. O'Kane. I'm the General Manager of the Foyle Fishermen's Co-op here in Greencastle. Yeah, well, the co-op here is in existence for the last 30 years, the Foyle Fishermen's Co-op, and we now have between 7 and 8 member vessels that land to us on a weekly basis. Could be any day of the week from Sunday to Monday. And what we do here is we provide a service to auction the fish for the boats and try to get the best available price that we can for their catch. We do some other services. We look about pricing oil and different things that the boats might be looking for. But our main task is to get the best price we can for the whitefish that's landed, and it's mainly whitefish that's landed here in Greencastle. We also have some pelagics and a small bit of shellfish, but it's mainly whitefish, so the likes of cod, haddock, monk, megrim, John Dory, ling, skate, that type of fish, whiting. And our boats fish all around the coast, Jim. They send their fish back to Greencastle here, even if they land in Dunmore East in County Waterford or Rossaveel in County Galway. No matter where they land, they'll end up sending their fish back to the co-op here. Sometimes we'll move the fish directly to a customer from the likes of Dunmore East or from Rossaveel or Kellybegs, but a lot of the time we'll take it back here. We weigh, grade, ice the fish, pack it maybe in polystyrene boxes for certain customers in Spain, the likes of Mercadona, who are the biggest supermarket chain in Europe, and we sell them megrims and monkfish, and that's really the function of the co-op. So it's our job to get the best price we can, but it all depends on what the market is like and how much fish is around. It's a commodity that we're dealing with. It's a perishable good that we're dealing with 99% of the time, so it has to move very quickly, and that's really what we do. We'd be in touch with the boats on a daily basis while they're at sea, so we'd know what catch they have on board, what they're likely to have, where they're fishing, and they want to know from myself how the market is, what kind of price we're going to be getting. So it's a business that's driven generally by the market, and the boats try to catch what they can get the best for, but sometimes it's a mixed fishery, for instance off the northwest coast here, so a lot of the time the boats will cast their nets and they won't be too sure exactly what will come up. They'll have an idea, and they'll have a very good idea most of the time, but because it's a mixed fishery they might be getting haddock and whiting and monk and hake, a lot of the time all in the one catch, or megrim, something like that. So communication at this stage is pretty good. We be in touch with them on the computer, so it should either by email, it should be WhatsApp, on the phones. Where in the past, when I would have started here 23 years ago, you used to call up the boats on the radio, either on the VHF or on what we call the big set. So we generally know what they have, and we'll know when they're likely to land, and they will land to suit the market as well. Sometimes they'll land to suit themselves, which isn't always great, but they'll have their own reasons for landing as well at times. So generally speaking, we would have an auction, certainly in the spring and the summer months, we'd have an auction maybe 4 out of the 5 days in the week. And when it comes into this time of the year now, in the winter time, it can be more like 2 or 3. And sometimes there'll be weeks, if the weather's bad, that there might only be one auction, or there may even be a week if the weather's really bad where we don't have any fish at all, but that doesn't happen that often. So we ship really all over Europe, but it's mainly, there's a certain species of like megrim and monk and some hake and witches that goes mainly to Spain. Then we have fish like ling, coley or saith, white pollock, that goes to France mostly. And then we have prime fish like black sole and brill and turbot and stuff that we send to either Holland or Belgium. And mostly then the UK, it's mainly haddock and whiting that goes to the UK, and some skates and rays as well. And certainly within Ireland then a mixture of all of them. We send fish into Northern Ireland, to the Republic, to the Dublin fish market, and some of the local buyers of course as well. There'll be some processors. There's 1 or 2 in Greencastle here, and Mallintown and to Derry. The fish that we bring in is nearly all whole fish. We do work with some frozen at sea prawns, which you can put into a freezer and sell in 3 months or 6 months, but we really try and turn it around very quickly. The boats have to pay their bills on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis, so we pay the boats in the kind of the following week, and therefore we have to move the fish very quickly. And that's the best way. You get the best quality, and generally speaking, will hold an auction as a boat lands. So we don't actually have like a set time for an auction, maybe in the morning. It just depends, because Greencastle is tidal and the boats have to come in on the tide most of the time. We'll just call an auction as and when we see fit, which is most days, as I say, in the summertime. Well, there's been huge changes, really huge. When I started out, there was a lot more smaller boats, in the harbour. Even at that stage, everybody was saying fishing's finished, it's going to be done, and that was 23 years ago. And if you meet somebody walking along the pier today, they'll tell you the exact same thing. But the industry is very resilient, so it is. It meets challenges head on, and there's been a huge amount of challenges over the years. As I say, whenever I was starting here, the logbooks were only coming into play. You used to come in and land whatever you wanted. You didn't have to record anything. There was, the gear that was used. There's been big increases in mesh sizes in the gear to try and make sure that we have a stock for the future, for the next generation of fishermen that are coming along. We had days at sea where you were only allowed a certain amount of time at sea throughout the year. We've had huge changes in quotas. As I say, there was a quota put on a lot of species where in the past, you were allowed to land whatever you wanted of those species. We've electronic logbooks now, so when the boats leave here, they have to have their logbook turned on. It used to be a paper logbook that you used to have to fill in, and before that there was no logbook at all. Now the boats are tracked everywhere they go, from the minute that they leave to the minute that they come back. So there's been huge advances in technology over the period, in both the catching sector and the requirements through legislation that the boats have to comply with, which is all handed down from Europe. Some of them good, some of them not so good, but it is what it is, I suppose. This is the way that it is. We've seen changes in the market as well. There's a lot more now. We're selling directly to supermarkets, where in the past it would have been mainly just to local processors or to the Dublin fish market or whatever. Ourselves here, this co-op here was built 28, 30 years ago. And that was a big step at the time. So it was a huge undertaking. There was another co-op in Greencastle, the Greencastle Fishermen's Co-op. That was still open at that stage, and it was still open when I was here, when I started 23 years ago, and probably closed maybe 12 or 15 years ago. So there was two co-ops for a long time in Greencastle. We're now in the process of building another new co-op that we're just at the tender process at the moment. We have some enablement work, so hopefully if you're back here in 12 months you'll see a completely new co-op built, and this building that we're standing in here now is going to be taken away. And so that's another advancement, and the reason that we're having to do that is it's to hold on to our markets. It's because of health and safety, it's because of food safety, and those are all big advancements that have come along over that period of time. And a lot of those are very good, in that we now can, our product is traceable right from the moment it's caught right until the consumer eats it, so right through the whole chain, and that's progress. That's a good thing. There's been a lot of challenges over the years. As I said, it's a very resilient industry. However, I often wonder how it is so resilient, and I suppose it's down to the fact that the people of Greencastle, the fishermen that are members of our co-op, they're brought up in this way, and it's a way of life. Personally, I'm from Cairn, and I was never, I had no background in fishing at all, but I've made a career out of it here in Greencastle. These people are raised with it, and that's why it's a way of life, and it's a very good way of life, and it's a skill set that it would be desperate if it was lost. And over the years, it's been teetering on the edge that fishing could become a skill that's lost. There's less and less net menders than there used to be, and there's less boats. I suppose our boats have got bigger. We still land the same amount of fish. That we did, or maybe more in terms of value than we did way back when. But the resilience within the local community, the resilience within the industry, countrywide, is fantastic through all the different battles that they've had to put up with. And again, we're now faced with another challenge in Brexit. And that's massive for us, because a lot of the waters that our boats fish in are so-called UK waters, if you like, and it's the same for the people in Killybegs, the boats in Killybegs. And these are major challenges that that we're having to face all the time. And I suppose one of the massive challenges that we've had over the years as well is the increase in the price of fuel to keep the boats going, which is a real challenge. Before these boats go out, they have to pay a lot just to fuel up the boats, and before they catch any fish at all. So we obviously see a future here in Greencastle. That's why we're building a new co-op. But it's never easy. It's a difficult game to be at. The guys at sea deserve a lot of credit because they're keeping a skill set going that has been traditional and keeps local coastal communities alive. And it's not an easy way of life. I have an office here in Greencastle that doesn't move. I can go up and sit down at my desk and it doesn't move. Their office is bobbing up and down at all times, and especially at this time of the year, the conditions that they fish in are tough. And the men deserve an awful lot of credit because they're providing jobs locally and they're keeping the co-op going here. There's 2 or 3 jobs ashore for every 1 job at sea, and that's a testament to them, that they're willing to put up with the hardship over the years to keep industry alive here in Greencastle. And again, now to see the new investment that they're making again, we do have a bit of state support in that, but we'd like to see the fact that we're advancing the co-op and advancing our markets and improving on all of that. We'd like to see a bit of state support in terms of our harbour here. We have, we have a breakwater that was started here 10 or 12 years ago and hasn't been completed. It's the only project within the state that the state have ever started and not finished in terms of a building project like this. And we'd like to see that finished so that we can see new investment in boats and vessels here in Greencastle, and that they have a safe working environment, that they can come in and tie up their boats and not be worried that they're going to be damaged or in times of bad weather through the winter storms that there's going to be damage to the boats. So that's what we need that from the government, because we're making an investment here in the co-op and in new boats, but we need the infrastructure around us as well, and the council here in Donegal need to step up, and the state need to step up and finish the project that they started. We there's also other things going on here as well that there's great potential for, even with Brexit. And we have the likes of the cruise ships that come into Greencastle. If we had a harbour here that was fit for purpose, and those boats were able to actually tie up along the quay wall instead of having to send in the little shuttle boats that come in, you'd get far more of them. The Derry Port and Harbour Authority tell us that if they were able to tie up in Greencastle here, they would be able to bring 30 cruise liners in next year, and they reckon that they'd double that within a couple of years. And that would all bring more things into Inishowen for the tourists to come here and look about the different the great areas of interest that we have. Should it be Dunree, or should it be Mallinhead, or anywhere else in Inishowen? But we need state support for that, and we need forward thinking, and we haven't had that for a long time, I'm afraid. The recession is supposedly over. We were told that our breakwater would be complete once that was the case. We kept quiet about it for long enough. Unfortunately, the government haven't kept their side of the bargain. At the same time, we're positive with everything that's going on. Brexit says it will have challenges because of the access to waters, and that's very important for us. We have to be able to go to these areas and fish. There would be a major issue for us if all the European fleet was put out of UK waters, which is a possibility if there's a no-deal Brexit. They would have no choice but to go to the west of Ireland, and then that's going to increase the number of boats in that area. It'll be displacement from UK waters into Irish waters, really, and that'll put the stock under pressure as well, and it'll put everything under pressure. It'll put our business under pressure here as well if that happens. So we're hopeful that there will be a deal in Brexit, but as of today, it's a flip of a coin, so you wouldn't know. We have a product that everybody wants, at the same time, it's a healthy fish, is a very healthy product. it's a protein source that, you know, like a lot of people are interested in. It's very tasty. Like, you know, in the past, you know, like people in Ireland were thrilled with us that you only had fish on a Friday and it was nearly like a penance. Well, that's not the case any longer. Like, you know, there's good sale for fish in Ireland now, not as much as we like, and not as much Irish fish as we'd like. There's a huge amount imported, believe it or not, that comes in from all over Europe as well. And we're exporting more than we'd like. We'd like to be selling more fish within Ireland, but that's really down to price and down to, you know, what the consumer wants. Like, you know, but listen, there's a positive story to tell as well. Like, we have a product that people will want, and they'll want it into the future. It's just if we are able to catch it, if we have the ability to catch it. We're very interested here in in sustainability. Like, you know, like we're building for the future. We need, you know, like the men that are members of this co-op and have been over the last 30 years, they have sons that are coming on and family that are coming on and are taking over their vessels and their boats and working with them. And, you know, like they're interested in a sustainable stock that builds for the future. They don't want to, you know, like it was maybe way back, you know, plunder any stock or anything like that at all. It's the opposite. We realise that we have something that people want, and we have to look after it.